Hello, welcome to this morning's training session on how to create a virtual school tour from EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum. On this morning's session, we will have both myself, Finola, who is the Education Sales Executive here at EPIC, and my colleague Shannon, who is our Education and Outreach Manager. Not only do we represent EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum, but also the Jeannie Johnson famine story as well. Before we start, I'm just going to go through a little bit about EPIC, just to give you an idea of what's on offer here at the museum. EPIC, the Irish Immigration Museum, opened in 2016, and it tells the story of those who have left Ireland and who have, achieved many amazing things abroad. Throughout the museum, we look at amazing stories of about 300 different people who have left Ireland. We focus on the areas such as science, technology, music, dance, film. So there's many amazing people for you to visit and see when you come to the museum. The museum itself is also the world's first fully digital museum. And that's what leads into what we're going to be talking about today, because not only is EPIC an amazing place to visit, but also an amazing place to visit virtually as well. Here at EPIC, we have 3 stages of our education program. The first stage is our Tiny Tots, and this particular section is dedicated to children from junior infants up until first class. We will talk a little bit more about the different parts of this program later on, so we'll be able to talk to you about the different workshops we offer both on-site and virtually. We then have our EPIC Explorers. Our EPIC Explorers are suitable for 2nd class up until 6th class aged bracket students. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about the different kind of workshops that are included in that element a little bit later on. We also then have our EPIC Innovators. This is for our secondary level students and above. So this particular project is very much suitable from your first year up until even college age students. Within this, we have a range of different workshops and also different webinars. So we focus on different areas such as women's history, coding. There's also elements of looking at different immigrants who have left Ireland and their stories. We also then look at stuff like, the actual famine and how it would have affected people and led to the Irish immigration story. So for today's session, we're going to mainly focus on what EPIC does virtually and how you can create a virtual school tour using the tools here at EPIC. So to start off, I'm going to detail just some of the programs that we offer. So firstly, we have a range of private workshops that can be booked. All our virtual workshops are available through Zoom, and for a private class, you can pick one of any of our amazing workshops, and they usually take roughly about an hour to complete, and we'll always have tasks that you can finish in the classroom as well. We also have a range of multi-school workshops, and this is a specific workshop that a number of schools can join at one specific time on any date of the week. In these workshops, we will have a specific theme, whether that be explorers or women's history. And then as you join, you'll be joining with multiple classes from around the country, and you'll be able to take part in the workshop as well. We then also have a selection of webinars that can be booked. So these can range from topics such as the Irish famine, Irish immigration, or women's history. Again, like our workshops, they roughly take about 1 hour, and we'll always include a Q&A session so that you can ask any questions you may have of our facilitator. We also have a VR tour available on our website, and this is free to use at any time. That includes a set of downloadable worksheets that you can use as well to create your own kind of virtual tour in the classroom. And then finally, we have our history at home packs. We have a range of packs looking at areas such as explorers, computer scientists, genealogy, the Irish famine, Easter Rising. So there's many different topics you can pick from when you look at our history at home packs. And they're all very fun activities that you will be able to take part in the classroom. So the first section we're going to look at is the programs that we have here that are facilitator led. So these are specific programs that are done by the EPIC staff and are delivered virtually live into your classroom. So the first one is our Tiny Tots, which I'm going to hand over to Shannon to discuss.
So Tiny Tots is an interactive storytelling experience catered to the younger primary school audience. And it's very much based around sensory and arts and crafts activities that you can do with very limited materials, usually just some coloring pencils, crayons, and paper. And we have various different themes. And basically what we do is we take historical figures that we feature in the museum, and we've crafted this completely new, completely sort of innovative storytelling experience where the children meet the character, They learn a little bit about the history, but in a sort of fun, interactive way. And they go on a journey with this character around the world. So we have things such as pirates with Anne Bonny or William Lamport. We have aviators with Lady Mary Heath or Spitfire Paddy. Astronauts with Jocelyn Bell Burnell or Neil Armstrong. Explorers with Ernest Shackleton and Nellie Bly. And then we also have seasonal ones as well that can tie into particular times of year. There's also more to come during the summer, such as Western themes, and later on near Halloween, etc. So basically, just to give you an example of the sorts of activities that we would be doing on these storytelling experiences, I'm going to run through just the outline of the Antarctic Explorers Workshop. So at the beginning, we meet Ernest Shackleton. We discover how he's an explorer through looking at his explorer's outfit and his clothes, and the children have to guess what sort of occupation he has. Then they go to explorers camp or sailing school with him, and they learn how to be a sailor. They put on their uniform, they draw their uniform and kit themselves out, and then they'll learn how to get their sea legs by practicing. So some of the activities are movement based. So this would be movement based. The kids would get up and learn how to walk on board a ship. Then there's tying the rigging, which is learning how to tie their shoelaces. And then we have things like looking at the different ships. So they have to select the correct ship for their journey. So they look at things like currachs, famine ships, pirate ships, ocean liner, and then finally the endurance exploration ship that they go on their journey on. They'll do a singing activity, which is a sailor went to sea, which a lot of children would be familiar with anyway. And they do that with sea animals by replacing the last line with different sea animals that they have to name. So like seahorses, etc. Then they'll look at sounds as well. So things like cars, motorbikes, and ships to be able to identify the sound that a ship makes. And they'll be making these sounds as well. So it is very interactive. They get stuck in the ice. So it does follow the actual historical journey of Ernest Shackleton on his endurance expedition. So the ship gets stuck in the ice and they have to try and push the ship before abandoning it. Then they arrive in Antarctica and they have a snow activity. And this is very based around a sensory activity where they have to find something or think of something or identify something that feels like snow or looks like snow in their environment around them. Then they'll travel to get help and they'll learn how to navigate using the stars. So they'll look for the North Star and then they'll climb a mountain, which they'll do using their imagination. And finally, they'll reach the whaling station where they'll get the help to rescue the crew. So that just shows you the big range of different sorts of activities that we do in there. We also sometimes have maths activities where they'll have to count how much money we need for a certain thing or how much fuel we need for our journey. And that's that. I'll hand back over to Finola.
Thank you, Shannon. So just another idea of what we do with the Tiny Tots, you'll see below, not only can this be booked as a private session for your school, but we also have 2 multi-school sessions that will be taking place. One on May 25th, which will be the Aviators theme, and another on June the 3rd, which will be the Antarctic Explorers theme. Now, our next section is looking at our Epic Explorers. Our Epic Explorers, as I mentioned, is suitable for 2nd class up to 6th class. And we offer a wide variety of workshops within this. So we include workshops dedicated to women's history. So we have our poster or illustration making workshop. We also have Antarctic Explorers, female explorers, space explorers. We also have our coding tech exhibit workshop and our immigrant suitcase workshop. To give you an idea of what will take place in one of these workshops, I'm going to look at our Space Explorers workshop. So usually in all our workshops, we focus on certain Irish immigrants who would be associated with the theme that we're discussing. So in this workshop, we will look at people like Neil Armstrong, his links to Ireland, and then how he became, the first man to walk on the moon. Throughout this workshop, kids will take place in different activities. So they will look at the activities that are associated with space, like how to actually do a spacewalk, what type of food you're going to eat in space, how to prepare yourself for space. Not only looking at astronauts, but the engineers that are needed to create the space rockets, looking at animals that have gone to space as well. So it looks at a variety of different themes and different areas within that theme as well, in order to give kids a fun, interactive experience. And it's a way for them to engage with a topic, but in a fun way, so that they feel like they're learning, but in a really fun, exciting way. Throughout all of our workshops, they also get to engage in the chat feature. So they get to talk, ask questions, and also using the craft material that they need for the workshop, which is usually just a pen and paper. It's all done very simply to make it as easy as possible for you guys. They will be able to engage by drawing their own spacesuit, showing us different pictures, telling us why they decided to design theirs that certain way. Throughout these workshops, we also have private sessions that can be booked at any time. So you can pick any of the workshop topics and we can book that in for you. As I say, they roughly take about 1 hour. We also will have a range of multi-school sessions for our Epic Explorers. As you can see on the screen, they're taking place on May 14th and 28th, and also on June 4th and June 11th. Now, for this multi-school Epic Explorers workshop, we're going to be taking on a very fun, exciting new theme. It's going to be a brand new workshop for Epic, and we'll be looking at the fantastic story of Nellie Bly. Nellie Bly was an American journalist who traveled the world in 72 days. And using the story of Nellie Bly and also the amazing characters that people are going to meet in Epic, we're going to travel around the world together. They're going to get to meet characters like Jack B. Yeats and Spitfire Paddy while taking the place and going to places like the Caribbean and Australia, and really getting to travel the world without actually having to leave the classroom. So it's a way to actually get out there and see the world. As well as our normal workshops and our multi-school workshop, we also have a very interesting new product that will be available as well for the Epic Explorers, where they can purchase 2 workshops to take place over the same day and have activities that they can do in the classroom. So they can combine 2 workshops in order to learn about 2 different themes. So you might want to take the Arctic Explorers and Space Explorers together to look at how different explorers and different areas require different sets of skills. We also have our full school workshop. And this is a workshop that's dedicated to the full school experience. So within this, you will get not only a Tiny Tots workshop, but also 2 Epic Explorer workshops. So you can then have the whole school take part in these workshops. It can take place all over one day. It can take place over a couple of weeks, whatever you would prefer yourself. So for each section, you will have a choice of 2 workshops that you can choose from. So for Tiny Tots, they'll be able to choose between our Aviators or Antarctic Explorers. For the Epic Explorers, roughly around the age bracket of 2nd to 4th class, they can choose between the Antarctic Explorers or our Female Explorers workshops. And then 5th and 6th class can choose between our Women's History Poster Making workshop or our Space Explorers workshop. So it means that the whole school will get to experience Epic without actually having to leave the school. So it's a great way to have a fun virtual school tour created just for you. So what kind of workshops do we include within each section? I'll let Shannon go through the Tiny Tots ones, and then I'll be back to you about the Explorers.
So I did kind of go through these earlier as well. So just to reiterate, just so you're completely 100% sure, you've got all these ones on the screen to choose from. These have already all been scripted. And as well, it depends on whether you're looking for a female main character or a male main character. We can offer both. And what usually happens actually is that main characters interact with other characters on the journey as well. So we do have the pirates theme, we have aviators, we have astronauts, we have explorers, and then we have particular yearly themes that time with seasonal events as well. And as you can see on the screen here, now the scripts do vary slightly. So for instance, Explorers, with Ernest Shackleton, you are traveling to the Antarctic, but with Nellie Bly, you're traveling around the world. Pirates, with Anne Bonny, you are traveling to the Caribbean. With William Lamport, you are traveling to Mexico. Astronauts, that you're going up to space. Austin Bell Brunel, for those of you who don't know, was a physicist who discovered a new type of star in space. Neil Armstrong was the first person to walk on the moon. So you're kind of following his journey on the Apollo 11 mission. And with her, you are following a journey up in space where she discovers the new star. And with Aviators, with Lady Mary Heath and Spitfire Paddy, you are going on a high-flying adventure. Lady Mary Heath was the first woman to do, the first person to do a flyover from Africa to London. So you follow her on that journey. And then for Spitfire Paddy, you follow him on a very secret mission. He worked during World War II. You follow him on the secret mission, and he actually bumps into Lady Mary Heath on this journey, and vice versa. So whichever one you choose as the main character, you still get an appearance from the other one as well. And then with our seasonal ones, These are very much based much more around imaginary characters. So we call it the polar bear because actually there's a link between polar bears and Ireland, and they are known to be immigrants of Ireland because if you look at the genetic disposition of the polar bears, they can actually be traced back to bears that used to live in Ireland for the Ice Age. So we have Nollig the polar bear who is journeying home for Christmas. We have Patrick the leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day, and he's named after the famous St. Patrick, of course, and he follows St. Patrick's journey. And you get to learn all about the history of St. Patrick's Day and the symbols of Irishness on that journey. And then Easter with the puka, we are looking at Easter traditions around the world. So we go to places like Bermuda and look at the kite flying. We look at different traditions, like where does the word Easter come from in Germany. And we also learn how to say a few simple phrases, Happy Easter, in different languages to the different countries we went to. We look at egg jarping, which is a game that takes place in a couple of different countries in the UK as well, where you knock eggs off one another and whoever's egg cracks first is the loser, and different things like that. And it's quite fun. There's lots of parading and different things. So that's kind of everything, I think. But if you have any questions, do let us know about that. We can look at adapting the scripts as well. So if you have a classroom and you want to really focus on arts activities or sensory activities, etc., depending on your surroundings and what's available to you, we can look at doing that as well for you.
Shannon. So also then we're going to just have a quick overview of the Epic Explorers and the different workshops that we offer as part of that program. So the first one is our Emigrant Suitcase Workshop, and this is a particularly useful workshop if you're looking at something like the famine. We take certain characters from the museum, and through the Emigrant Suitcase Workshop, the children are engaged with, obviously virtually, with artifacts that actually link back to this person's life. So we have characters such as Thomas Quinn, Bram Stoker, Spitfire Paddy. So it's all about using the artifacts that link back to this person's life to engage in the activities, to tell a story, to look at these people's lives and understand what they would have gone through during that time period. We briefly looked at Space Explorers as well. Again, all of our workshops will take a character from Epic and use them within these workshops. Our Techxhibit workshop is our coding workshop, so that's done through Scratch, and through that the children will be able to create their own version of Epic, their own digital museum, using again some of the characters from the museum. Our Ingenious Ireland is looking at Irish engineers and how Irish engineers have influenced the rest of the world, and it also looks at how you become an engineer, and the activities are all about creating modes of transport through engineering. We have our Antarctic Explorers, which Shannon had kind of briefly looked at through the Tiny Tots, which looks at Ernest Shackleton and Tom Crean. And then our Female Explorers focuses on Nellie Bly, which will be where our multi-school workshop for the Epic Explorers will be a big focus. We'll be looking at Nellie Bly. We also have our Women's History and Poster Illustration workshops. So for that, you can choose to either do the poster or the illustration workshop. And in these, we focus on some of the women who have made a stand around the world and who've really, flown the flag for their area. So we look at people like Sonia O'Sullivan. We look at Mary Robinson. So it's taking these women who have come from Ireland, but have really had a big influence on the rest of the world. As I say, all of these workshops are available to purchase either, privately, or we do have the multi-school workshops, which we've discussed as well. The next section we're going to look at is actually the teacher-led side of things. So these are the stuff that you can simply go onto Epic's website, you can download the content, and you can create your own virtual school tour using the content that has been created. We will start by looking at our VR tour and the worksheets associated with that. So I'll pass you over to Shannon.
So we created this last year in an attempt to sort of enable teachers to be able to still access that school tour experience during lockdown. And so we have a free virtual reality tour on our website of Epic that you can go into and you can access for free from anywhere in the world. And we just created these worksheets to go alongside it. We created 2 packs, and basically the first one, as you can see on here, how to host your own virtual school tour, is really a guide for teachers. So you can download that, and it's got lots of hints and tips of how to use the virtual tour worksheets, the VR tour itself, and ideas of how to sort of get your class motivated and involved in that. So just to go through, so to combine the Epic VR tour, with the worksheets, you can create your very own epic virtual school tour experience. And it's really designed to help you out with minimal planning and minimal effort on your side. It's designed to deliver engaging curriculum relevant content in a safe learning environment. So the worksheets combine elements of active and passive learning alongside visual, oral, writing, and reading exercises to introduce students to the history and culture of Ireland in a new, imaginative, and fun format. So in the worksheets, you can expect to see a mixture of the following activities and prompts. There's a did you know? So engaging facts relevant to the particular gallery that you go in. There's a meet, so there's a featured character in each gallery that you have to look for. And there's a can you spot, a visual clue to look out for in each gallery. A trivia, a level appropriate question related to the content in the gallery, a discuss question, so it's kind of a prompt for further thought or discussion tied to the broader themes that are explored in the gallery and of immigration as well and the Irish diaspora, and then a fun series of activities as well that get the students kind of creative thinking, using their creative brains to design different things. You'll also find some post-visit questions as well to help summarize and contextualize the experience within the class-specific learning outcomes. So you can see here on the screen just a little slice of the tour in action. So alongside the worksheets, in the actual tour itself, there's a lot of content as well that you can access. So you'll see as you're going through, there's different colored points that you can click on. So some of them have videos, some of them are links to articles, some of them have information, introductory information about the gallery. They have audio that you can listen to as well. So you can really combine the worksheets with what's actually in the gallery to create your very, very own virtual school tour. And another lovely thing is that Epic, we're very uniquely placed in that we look at a very, very broad range of topics. So we cover everything from Irish history, as you'd expect, and world history, because it's about immigration, but also we cover things like science, sports, art, storytelling, music. There's a lot of different subjects in there. So depending on what kind of experience you want your students to have, you can focus on particular galleries. You don't have to do the whole museum experience. And our tour is split into two halves as well. So even just choose one half of the museum to do if you're limited to time or if it particularly fits in to a theme that you're exploring. Because the first half of the tour is very much tied into Irish history. It looks at the famine, it looks at penal laws and different things like that, which you may not be looking for in a school tour experience. You may be looking for something a little bit more fun. And that's the second half of the VR tour, which starts looking at those themes. It looks at the Irish influence abroad and then heads into sport and beyond. So some of the tips that we give you for doing a virtual school tour like this is just making sure to keep your students motivated. Nothing motivates them more than a bit of friendly competition or a ticking clock. So you can create extra fun challenges for your students to compete. You could put them into teams racing against the clock to finish certain activities in certain galleries. You could create a conveyor belt with each student having to complete a task in a particular gallery before leading on to the next one, or give them a particular prompt and a time limit in which to conclude it. The options like that are quite simple, but they're quite effective. So I'm going to give you an example now of just some of the activities that we have. So we have a Discovering and Inventing gallery, and this is all about the fantastic contributions that Irish people have made around the world to the fields of science, engineering, and innovation, and all that sort. So the questions that we have on the worksheet in this gallery, we ask students, can they spot the big blue sculpture in the gallery? And it represents all the messages being sent along the synapses and nerves inside the human brain. And it's quite a fantastic visual experience, even online. And then we asked them to meet the explorer Ernest Shackleton, who went on 3 expeditions to the Antarctic, and tell them that they can learn more about him by watching the video that is on display in that gallery as well. And for our trivia, we say which pole was Ernest Shackleton racing to reach? And we've got the options A, the North Pole, B, the South Pole, and C, the electricity pole. So they have to watch the video to discover and fill that out. And then we have a really fantastic activity, which is Become an Inventor. So they have 1 minute to design an object related to travel in the box below. Be creative. Your invention could be a new type of transport in addition to something already invented, like a cookie dispenser for your plane, or perhaps even something related to time travel or space. So they've got 1 minute, and you'd be, I mean, you know yourselves, but you'd be surprised with what students can come up with, how inventive they can be in a minute. And it's quite a fun thing. Then they can share it with everyone in the class and see what people came up with. So that just gives you a really quick overview of how you can use the virtual tour worksheet. And you can find all of this on our website. You can download for free. So the other thing that you can do is we have a whole series of history at home packs. They're all based around different themes. So we've got the covers here on the screen for you. So we've got Explorers, Easter Rising, Computer Science, Great Famine, Genealogy, and we have some seasonal ones as well. They are great resources because they have the history in it, but they also have a lot of activities. So just showing you on the next screen now, the kind of breakdown of the packs so you get an idea of how you could potentially work into a virtual school tour. So if you were looking at, as I was saying, like maybe a particular theme, you could just say it is computer science, it's innovation, it's the gallery that we just looked at, discovering and inventing. So you want to focus on sort of explore innovation, science. You could take the computer science history at home pack. You could look at this particular gallery in the museum. You could use the worksheet as well. And you can combine all of them together to create your very own personal school tour. So you'd have a history of computer science in the pack. And this is a very easily digestible, bite-sized history that really taps into things that students are interested about as well. So it brings it from the beginnings all the way up to the things that students would be using today, like their mobile phones, their iPads, the virtual reality tour that you're actually doing your school tour on. And then we have trivia tasks. So we'll have questions related to the history and then a word search in which they can find the answers to the questions. And then what we usually move into in the packs is a series of do it yourself, become a particular type of person that the pack is related to. So become an explorer in your home, become a computer scientist. And the activities are all tied in to becoming that particular career and exploring it in your home environment. So with the computer science pack, what we'll be looking at is learning how to create an algorithm. And it is very simple, although it might sound complicated. It's broken down very, very simply in the packs for the students. Very easy to understand. They write out an algorithm practicing with something simple like brushing their teeth. They write out all the steps and then they learn the processes and the skills in order to become a computer scientist. And they'll do things like creating an emoji story as well. And that's a really, really fun one to do because you can get students to create a story using emojis and you can get them to then swap their stories and see if they can figure out which story that they have chosen. And we also have a focus on a character from the museum. So in the computer science pack, that's Kay McNulty, who was one of the 5 women who were involved in ENIAC, which is the first digital general purpose computer in America. And it's got her story, and then we've got tasks related to that as well. We've got a number of questions and usually something to do with drawing or further thinking, like things like design a computer. What would you pack if you were going to leave and emigrate to somewhere else? So there's always a fun task in there as well. So that just gives you an overview of how you can take a particular element of the VR tour. You can take the worksheets, and then you can also take these downloadable packs, which are available for free on our website, and utilize them all together to create a really fun, interesting, and slightly different virtual tour experience for free from anywhere in the world.
So everyone, we have now finished with going through all of the different options there are for virtual school tours here at EPIC. We hope you enjoyed today's session. If you do have any questions after the session, please do contact us at the email on the screen. Just to reiterate, so here at EPIC, we have a mixture of both facilitator-led workshops and webinars, which are delivered by the EPIC staff. These are all live virtual workshops that are delivered through Zoom. And as I mentioned, they take roughly about 1 hour. We also then have the teacher-led pieces, which are our downloadable packs, our history at home packs, and also our VR tour as well. So these all are available free on our website. If you want to just have a look at our website is epicchq.com/education. And from there, you'll be able to see all the different options we have for virtual school tours here at Epic. Also, after today's session, we'll be sending you out an information pack that will include this recording. It will also include a small snippet recording of some of the workshops that we do virtually, and then also information on all the different workshops that we offer here at Epic. Again, we just say thank you for joining us today. And as I say, if you have any questions, please do contact us. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.